Welcome, Matvey Kuzmik. Sit. Rurik opened the door and let Matvey Shaposhnikov into his office. Fate have taken them in different directions, one to the military of Tomsk and one to the throne in Kemerovo. But politics and warfare could not wear down the bonds of an old friendship. Why, thank you, Your Majesty, replied Shaposhnikov, still clearly uncomfortable with the honorific. Rurik laughed. Nonsense, Matvey. For you, I am still Nikolai Ivanovich. He walked over to the samovar at the end table and grabbed a teapot, filling up 2 cups and adding cubes of precious pre-war sugar. The following hours were filled with laughter, while reminiscing about the old escapades. Nikolai Huh? That's not your name, though. Tears shed for old friends long gone in sobering silence when they realized they had ordered thousands of their men to fight the others. At least Shaposhnikov said as he sipped the last of a tea, there shall be no more blood shed between our men. You have brought peace to this region, Nikolai Ivanovich. Rurik sighed. Aye, but not everywhere. There will be more battles and blood, and death shall be left in our wake. Such is the price of reforging our homeland. Russia is disparate, Matvey Kumich, and her people need someone in whom they can place their trust. He smiled wryly at his old friend. And who better to follow than the ghost of old Rurik, given life once again? The last of the tea grew cold, and Rurik dumped the dregs from his cup into the fireplace and stood up. So ends our conversation. It was good to talk to you, Matvey Kumich. Likewise, Your Majesty. Huh? I'm really confused. That's not who he is. He's Krylov. Oh, Nikolai Ivanovich Krylov. Well, why the hell are you missing out the surname? That made this really confusing. Kind of needs the Krylov in there, seeing as they've made such a big deal about him no longer being Krylov. So he's just admitted that he's not completely bonkers to Shaposhnikov. Does that mean that we got... Wait, was Yuri always a general? Yes, he was. I remember. No, he's not a potential general. Okay. I think we're having real problems here. War support goes up, stability goes down massively. We have 1% stability. Yeah, I think this save's broken now. Unfortunately. I feel like these events are triggering which shouldn't be triggering. Get some technologies. The Principality of Central Siberia. Central Siberia becomes owner and controller of Tomsk. They gain a core on Tomsk because of an uprising. Free State of Magadan defeated the all-Russian government of Amur. Raskia, Siberia. Presidium of Supreme Soviet declared on Sakra. German Civil War continues to shift as Bormann's Germany conquers Heydrich's Germany. Bormann just won both of those fights. Although Bormann definitely seems to be losing ground to Goering right now. Although a bunch of his troops are about to turn around and face down Goring, so maybe not completely over. AB defeated the Islamic Republic of Bashkortostan. Ah, we can deploy some more men. Good. Because I have a feeling we're going to need them. And I think I might also deploy you. You two can join that. You lot can join him. Right, and we need a new focus. The People's Will. The Siloviki have been crushed, and their long-suffering people owe their newfound freedom to King Rurik. His Majesty does not wish to let this goodwill go to waste, and already plans to begin a large-scale propaganda campaign in the new territories to increase support and remind the people of Novosibirsk that the days of chafing under the corruption of the oligarchs are over. The liberated will be made to see His Majesty fight with their best interests in mind, and hopefully this message will resonate throughout Siberia. The corrupt and unworthy will not be safe as long as the armies of King Rurik II are on the march. And our stability has actually recovered a fair bit. Okay, I think our troops are more or less in place. So, attack. Because the armour is leading the way, and we are hopefully going to take Tomsk back. Seeing as they're attacking with just infantry. And yes, that will be the end of the war. They lost 8,000 men already? What? And with that, the civil war is over. I have to say I'm confused about what's happening now. Yeah, me too. You are not the only one. Add 15 million in debt. We gain stability of 2% for a week. So that's 8% plus 5% war support once that's all done. That actually sounds like a pretty good investment. Although, do we have any integrations to do? Oh, I don't think so. No, Novosibirsk is still being integrated. That will be a big help. I think I'm going to go ahead and spend on this. And we're back down to 0%. Presidium of the Supreme Soviet declared war on the Free State of Magadan. Low manpower? You don't know the meaning of low manpower. Because low manpower, that is not. Meanwhile, production continues to tick along. And I think I'm going to move... No, we'll leave Yaks at the bottom. If we lose that ground again. Because we have so little rubber, I think I might even cancel the Yaks, because I don't think any of them are going to get built. We'll go back one. No, we'll stick with 3. Presidium of the Supreme Soviet has defeated the Sakura Republic, so Irkutsk gets even bigger. So it's like Eastern Siberia is starting to really coalesce. Western Siberia, not so much. Where are the Urals? Here. So yeah, this is still Siberia. And we have another military we have 3 more military factories. Right, because of the cause. What do we need? Artillery. And support. So let's do another one on artillery. Let's do another one on support. And then do another on artillery. And I am going to switch out one more of these for APC. Unfortunately, I can't quite afford the next one. And then the next thing I'm going to do is have you spying on Irkutsk, because you should be doing something. And then have you lot training if you haven't already. The People's Will. National focus complete. Okay, industrial consolidation. Our industrial expertise, societal development will slowly begin to improve, as will the industrial equipment. With Central Siberia firmly within the grasp of King Rurik and his armies, he now has a tremendously powerful base to continue the reunification of Russia. This region has long been renowned for its extensive industrial centres, and was, at one time, the beating heart of Russia's once mighty industry. Now that they are within our hands, we can begin a large-scale effort to refurbish and modernise the factories to get the most out of their potential output. Many of the factories are now quite old by modern standards, and bringing them up to speed should be our top priority. Once we have re-established Central Siberia as the industrial heartland it once was, our realm will be the envy of our neighbours, and we shall be able to produce armaments and munitions like never before to ensure our soldiers are some of the most well-equipped in all of Russia. I mean, they kind of already are. On the Sobor floor. The conquest of Parishkin's fiefdom in Novosibirsk has brought a great deal of resources to the kingdom, but with more wealth comes more problems. No better example is the case of Prince Yuri and Princess Lydia, who have occupied the latest session of the Sobor, with an hours-long debate on how the newly annexed factories of Novosibirsk should be integrated into the royal economy. Esteemed members of Sobor, I highly recommend that you reject my dear sister's proposal on account that her actions are killing the local working men of Russia. Lydia didn't even wait for Yuri to finish her sentence. I call upon the Sobor to reject my brother's proposal, for following it will kill our nation. We cannot afford to tie up our industry with red tape when we are surrounded by war. Better the men in the factories be a few kopecks short in a few years than for them to be slaves to bandits for the rest of their lives. That line really set Yuri off. A few kopecks? How dare you suggest it's minor? My programs will save lives, while yours... As the siblings shouted each other, the assemblymen of the Sobor, at least those who could be bothered to stay awake, quietly judged them and weighed their options. At last, the Tsar's thoroughly exhausted children returned to their seats and the voting began. It was narrow, but the Sobor ultimately swung in favour of Yuri's labour reforms, or Lydia's status quo. So once again, we have the eternal question, and as this is an official Sobor event, we definitely need to do a poll on this. Do we go for Prince Yuri's labour reforms? Or do we go for Princess Lydia status quo? So what's more important? Order or equality is basically what that one's asking. So vote, vote, vote. Get your votes in. Let me know what you think, bearing in mind that currently the politics of both are equal. Lydia started out incredibly strong, getting lots and lots of benefits early on, but Prince Yuri's control of the Tomsk region, which did just have a civil war, has been swinging a lot of the influence his way. Are you the Sobor? Yeah, basically. So vote, vote, vote. Get your votes in. If you haven't voted yet, why not? It's your democratic duty to at least suggest something to your betters who actually make the decisions. Vote's almost over. Probably another 30 seconds, if that. This is, again, stupidly close. You guys like this, this ratio, don't you? How do you use points for voting again? Do you need to be a subscriber? Should just be when you vote. You should be able to add vote points. I don't know. I've never actually done it. Okay, so Princess Lydia and Prince Yuri have been up in yet another election, and Prince Yuri has actually won with 52% of the vote to Lydia's 42. Callsign Slinky coming in with another 2,250 bits. Thank you very much for the contribution to the election there, Callsign Slinky. Very much appreciate that. And then Commander Faceless with 75,000 channel points. So definitely trying to give voice to one of the two. I'm actually kind of curious who voted for what. Who's this? This is... okay. Okay. So yeah, 52 to 48. So that was a Yuri reform. Yuri's taking the lead at the moment. This is interesting. Like, the Sobor has seemed to have swung against Lydia lately. Yeah, chat, if you could tell Pink Union how it works, because I don't know. I've never actually voted with points before. I seem to be the only streamer that does this. Salus and Deshane, thank you very much for the follows. Welcome to the channel. Good to have you joining us. Okay, next. Onwards. So we've almost got another doctrine in just 6 days' time. We do seem to be getting those doctrines incredibly quickly, which is pretty nice. Let's speed through time again. Authoritarian democracy is catching up a little. Research finished. So now we can grab large-scale exercises. Individual recruit training is of course a requirement for any professional army, but so too is strategic training. Using divisions, corps and even entire armies, we can simulate massive battlefields in which our generals will be able to learn the skills of directing troops, and our soldiers will be better learned to fight in their greater roles together. So the army gains recovery rate and then organisation plus 10. Man, our infantry is going to be good after this. We could also start training some more units. I think I'm going to get just regular Drujinia. First of all, what'd that bring us to? That would bring us to 20... 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I guess we'll get some more Shield Maidens. If we have the manpower for it, that should do. And the equipment. Sweet. And we need just a tiny bit more army experience, then we can add another APC to the Streltsty units. And they are really going to be strong at that point. Resistance. West Russian Revolutionary Front declared war on the Order of St. George. Western Mongolia really isn't very happy. Oh, mostly because of the low stability, ouch. Yeah, so, well, martial law is as high as we can really go. So we're going to start losing manpower and equipment. We kind of need military police. We need to create a military police unit. Which is going to be kind of expensive. We're using militia right now, right? Which I think unfortunately come with recon. So we're losing support equipment to this. Yeah, artillery and support equipment. Eugh. We have enough manpower in place at the moment. Wait, no, that's Drujinia. Hold on. It should be these guys. Oh, those units are so much more expensive than they need to be. Hold your horses. The suppression isn't as high, so it will be more manpower intensive, but that's okay. Manpower and guns I can give you, because we still have a surplus. I just don't want to be giving you support equipment and artillery, because that stuff's expensive. The Grand Principality of Siberia. Decreases coring time again, gets us a bunch of stability and also some political power. And a new event. Victory! King Rurik II and his valiant troops have accomplished what they thought was impossible, and central Siberia has been united under the royal banner. Our realm is no longer a minuscule statelet, barely able to keep the wilderness outside of Kemerovo under control, but a proper and established government ready to take our cause to the glorious new heights. Therefore, it is no longer appropriate to call ourselves the Principality of Kemerovo, when the king now rules over so much more. The king has laid forth plans to reforge his state into a new entity, the Grand Principality of Siberia. Creating this new principality will solidify our stance as the legitimate authority in the long-divided lands of Siberia, and triumphantly proclaim to the world that Russia is finally on the way to reunification. Yeah, that stability is going to be really, really, really nice. So our GDP is currently going down. And we're at 24% deficit to income. I haven't even looked at that screen for a while. National debt, 440 million. Western Russian Revolutionary Front has defeated the Order of St. George. And we're also going to get some more points which we can then basically use to expand this stuff. And I think consolidating state resources is going to be a huge one. Which will cost 50. And I want that one. That will also increase GDP, which I think will be a good thing. 200 million of national debt, so be it. Republic of Pavlor declared war on the Free State of Magadan and on the Kazakh Soviet Republic. Divine Mandate of Siberia declared war on the Presidium of the Supreme Soviet. So this is a big showdown. I very much suspect that Irkutsk is going to win it, but this is going to leave Irkutsk in charge of a massive territory, although you are also at war with Magadan. That's interesting. So all three of these are now at war. Oh, shoot. Yeah, you're right. Well spotted. Military governor would be 17%. That would be 22. That's perfect. The AB declared war on Vyatka. I thought they were already at war with Vyatka. Ooh, Vyatka is fighting against Samara and I think losing. And now the AB's declared war on them as well. GG, legitimate Tsar. GG. The Committee for the Liberation of the Peoples of Russia has beaten Vyatka. Before the AB could get in though, so Samara is now more powerful because of that. AB declared war too late. Focus completed. Grand Principality of Siberia. So, what does this now lead to? Nothing. Yet. United under the Crown. The Grand Principality of Central Siberia has now been united under King Rurik II, long may he reign. Formerly known as the Major General Nikolai Krylov. See, here they don't say Ivanovich. Why did they do that for that one event? It's so weird. I had no idea who they were talking about. Formerly known as Major General Nikolai Krylov, King Rurik has come to understand his destiny and overcome his failures. The Siberian Black Army has been subjugated to the anarchist experiment, a failure. The traitor general Nikolai Andreev has been brought to justice and Krasnoyarsk reintegrated. Novosibirsk, led by Alexander Purushkin and the Siberian Falcon, now serve King Rurik in his conquests with its vast industry, population and resources. The People's Revolutionary Council has been defeated, the socialist cause taking yet another blow. Tomsk, the last remnant of the Central Siberian Republic, is now a loyal subject under the king. With all of Central Siberia now united under the King of the Rus, King Rurik is now a powerful contender for uniting all of Russia. As unlikely as it may have once been... as likely as it may have once... As unlikely as it may have been... It's missing a bean. As unlikely as it may have seemed once upon a time... No, maybe not. King Rurik's eccentric persona, beloved by the common people, is now well known across both Russia and even the international community. Who knows what the future holds for this glorious realm now that it may very well hold the fate of all of Russia in its hands. Of course, King Rurik's dreams are not yet achieved. Another contender still threaten his majesty and his realm from both the east and the west. The Grand Principality of Central Siberia is not safe yet. Many spectators have called King Rurik mad, and laughed at his dream of uniting Russia, but now King Rurik shall be the one laughing from his grand and mighty throne. Long live the king! Long live Russia! And here we go. A whole new massive focus tree. Interesting. But right now, the only one that's available is a Kingdom of Contradictions. Internal politics need to be stabilized before any of this comes up. Interesting. Alright. Once, a long time ago, Russia was a land of valor and loyalty, but with the ages came decadence and the people forgot their roots. Fascism, communism, democracy, it's all the same. Wolves who would lure the Russian to their lair. The nation's survival lies at the source, a mighty kingdom led by a just king. Tsar Rurik II and his eternal majesty shall waste no time in healing the wounds of Russia, starting here in Siberia itself. But Rurik II is understanding of his people's needs. He will not embrace decadence, but take the best of all worlds. Help the workers, not because of the revolution, but out of benevolence. Maintain the old ways, but not corrupt them like the fascists. Give the people justice, without compromising the rule of the Tsar. Some may find this style of rule erratic, irrational even, but they are blind to the future, which is the past, ignorant of tradition, which is perpetual. Hail, Tsar Rurik II, monarch of all of the Rus, shield of Siberia, king of kings.